Following Dr. Wang's speech, it will be a panel discussion on critical building blocks for a smart region. Now, may I invite moderator Mr. Wilson Chow, Global Technology Media Telecommunication Industry Leader, PwC China, and his 4 members to come on stage. Wilson has been working in public accounting practice, mainland China and Hong Kong for more than 30 years. He has extensive experience in providing assurance and advisory services in the TMT industry, from startup to global tech giants. Wilson, I'll pass the mic over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Hi, good afternoon. As introduced by my colleague, Dr. Wang, there are several critical building blocks to establish a smart region. And the major one will be, infrastructure, both physical and also digital, like the digital twin, and also, data exchange, standard and regulations, environment, energy, sustainability, and also people wellness. And we find that the public and private sector, as touched on by the previous session, and also the academic institution and individual, all have a role to play. And we see that the Greater Bay region, with 9+2 cities and special administrative region, in fact, we have an ambition to build it into a smart region, and so as to tap on the next phase of the economic growth, as well as increasing the wellness of the people in the region. But having said that, because we have, in the GBA, 9+2 cities and special administrative region, and there will be, different policies, different, focuses, strengths and weaknesses, and therefore, it will also need to a lot of challenges and also difficulties need to be overcome. And therefore, we have the honor to have, 4 distinguished guests to join this panel that they are, really the experts and also, the one who build those building blocks and operate those building blocks. And therefore, I'm so honored to have them to share certain of their experience. Why not I introduce them according to alphabetical order of their family name? Sitting beside me, the first one is Mr. Shigeru Dohno. Dohno-san is the Executive Vice President of Panasonic Corporation and also CEO of China and Northeast Asia Company of Panasonic Group. Thank you, Dohno-san. The second guest is Professor K.K. Ling. He is the director of Jockey Club Design Institute for Social Innovation of the Hong Kong Polytechnic University, and he is also the former director of planning of the Hong Kong SAR government. And then the third guest is Mr. Fred Sheu. He is the National Technology Officer of Microsoft Hong Kong, and also my close friends that we have been operating many of the panel together. And our fourth guest is Mr. Alan Yeung, JP. He is the founder, CEO, and strategic advisor of Intelli Global Corporation. Mr. Yeung is also the former Chief Information Officer of the Hong Kong SAR government. Thank you so much. As I said, and also learned from the brief title that of which you may browse the website of this event, that there are more, full-blown CV of our distinguished guests. The 4 gentlemen has been really working on the different building blocks, and they have different experience. Then why not I introduce each of them to talk about briefly to all the audience what sort of, contribution or what sort of efforts that he and also his company has been making in order to, make different region, different cities as a smart city. Why not I begin with Mr. Dohno-san? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sheu, and distinguished speakers. It's my great honor to attend this panel discussion. On behalf of Panasonic Group, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the organizer of this forum.
Thank you.
Oh, back. Oh. Okay, please see this slide. You can see on the screen. This is our environmental slogan, Panasonic Green Impact. Its objective is to contribute to the development of the carbon neutral society through our technology, products, and services in the field of lifestyle, supply chain, mobility, and city planning. You may know we may sometimes confront some conflicts between our comfortable lifestyle and environment protection, including carbon neutral society. For example, in this GBA area, or maybe Japan, we may not feel comfortable due to the warm and humid weather if you set up the temperature of the air conditioner higher. However, we sincerely believe it will be possible to realize the comfortable lifestyle and environment protection at the same time by utilizing our future technology. Please see next slide. The concept of Panasonic Smart City, just I mentioned, is a space where comfortable lifestyle and environment protection can coexist. At the same time, we'd like to contribute to building a city where people are living healthy and expecting longer life. Let me provide one example. In Japan, Panasonic has been developing Fujisawa Sustainable Smart Town. We call it Fujisawa SST. Since 2014. The target of Fujisawa SST to reduce CO2 by 70% from the level of 1990. In this smart town, all houses will utilize solar energy and the solar battery to achieve CO2 net zero. It means CO2 emission from each household will be offset by the CO2 reduction of the renewable energy in total annually. In the future, this city will be a model where comfortable lifestyle and environment protection coexist. Thank you.
Very interesting. Thank you, Dohno-san. Why not we over to our second guest, Professor Ling. KK, then would you be able to introduce what you have done in this Smart City initiative? Thank you.
Thank you, Wilson. Smart City Consortium asked me to talk more about the Lofton Metropolis. Okay, I am a town planner by profession. So when we talk about smart cities, as Albert earlier said, a smart region actually link up all the smart cities in this area to maximize their potential. For Hong Kong, in the next 20 years, I would say we moved into a twin metropolis spatial structure. So we call this harbor metropolis. It is a place where we are now. And then we are going to develop a new metropolis in the Lofton part of the new territories, which we call the Lofton metropolis. So in future, in the next 20 years, there will be very large-scale infrastructure and construction development in the Lofton metropolis, as well as in the Gao Yizhou artificial island. So if we look at the conceptualization of the Lofton metropolis, actually, it reflects a very, very important move that we shift our, or you may put it this way, in the first time in the strategic development of Hong Kong, we put the Lofton part of our area as in the same important in position with our harbor area. And in the Lofton metropolis, we envisage twin cities, which are Hong Kong and Shenzhen, and 3 development circles together. And these 3 circles actually cross the boundary. And this is a very important reminder for us that whenever we are thinking about development, Lofton Metropolis, we must also think about what development is going on in Shenzhen and whether we can have collaboration with each other. Lofton Metropolis, we're going to develop 5 employment blocks, and the future employments in Lofton Metropolis will very much related to INT development. So all this smart city technology will come into play. For the Lofton Metropolis, not only we will produce land to accommodate more housing, but more important, we will provide land to accommodate jobs. And these jobs most of them will be INT related. So one important objective of the development of the Lofton Metropolis development is to create a complete innovation and technology industry ecology for Hong Kong as our second engine. In my opinion, when I talk about this ING industry ecology, there are actually 7 components. The first is the basic and applied research. The second is when we have a research product, we need to transform it for commercial use. And then we need to develop samples, and therefore we need to test these samples and certify its validity. And after that, we need to mass production, then we'll have advanced manufacturing. And we know that INT needs a lot of financial support, therefore we need investment and financing, and also a lot of professional services, as well as education and training. So if you turn these 7 elements into land uses, then you can imagine what sort of development we really needed in Lofton Metropolis. And this type of development will require, to facilitate the development efficiency, we need to employ a lot of smart technology. And this is a very good example between the cross-boundary technology collaboration. At the moment, it is on Hong Kong side, it is the Long Ma Chau Loop, and on Shenzhen side, it is the Wangang area or the Futian area. And the scale of INT development in Hong Kong will be largely enlarged from about 80 hectares to 1,100 hectares. This will be probably the largest INT development cluster in Hong Kong. And to achieve this, we need to also change our mindset. This is what Albert just talked about. We need to change ourselves. For changing ourselves, we need to change our mindset. All right, we need to think about if our spatial conceptualization will be much beyond Hong Kong. All right, look across the Shenzhen River and look into the Victor Bay area, and of course, we need to look into the whole world. And then we have a new mindset breakthrough. We should only look at individual projects, but look at the comprehensive collaboration. And we need to have a new policy formulation, not only when we talk about development, it is not only development for housing, but also development, for INT and a new economic engine for us. And then we also need to have a new government infrastructure, all right, to facilitate this sort of development. Perhaps I stop here and then we can go further into
it's a very interesting topic about the Lofton Metropolis. We'll save some question and then we'll certainly ask Professor Ling again. Okay, then why don't we have say Fred of Microsoft and then talk about how from the technology side that say Microsoft has been doing. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks again, Wilson, for having me on this interesting panel again. So if I may, I don't know why we always start with our mission statement, either first slide or last slide, but since I only have 2 slides, it doesn't matter, it's the first or last. Our mission, Microsoft, is really empower every person, every organization on the planet to achieve more. I like this mission a lot because it's very adaptive or adaptable, right? If we apply in a smart city, I say we will empower every person, every organization on the planet to help them foster a better or smarter city, right? Of course, with Microsoft technology and service to market. So this panel is about building blocks, right? So if you talk about what Microsoft been doing or contributing to this smart city building blocks to support the region's smart city development, I would say I probably more than 5 building blocks. I just highlight. I think these 5 are probably very, very significant and important, and pretty much aligned with Albert actually mentioned earlier. Probably let me quickly go through each one of them in probably 2 minutes, and I will probably spend a bit more time to elaborate more on each of the building blocks. So I think first one is like upskilling. I think skill is very difficult. I think very critical, sorry. Since the government launched the Smart City Blueprint in 2017, I think smart people is like one of the key pillars, key pillars. And actually, within less than a year, we actually signed agreement with the government, the Education Bureau, we call Partner in Learning, which is our 4th version of partner learning. Each version lasts for 4 years, 4 to 5 years. So I think that version of partnership with the government is the previous agreement with the government is we use our technology to help the education sector to enhance their teaching and learning, or we call IT in learning category. And because of smart people is quite important, we kind of shift this focus to more STEM, providing Microsoft technology or product, or even some of our gaming tools to enable the students in K-12 and eventually form a lot of partnership with university to kind of integrate our technology into their curriculum as well. So the second one is about the partners. I mean, there's a startup and the partner ecosystems. So in Microsoft, we have only a few hundred people in Hong Kong, but we have more than like 2,000 companies actually working with us as a partner, right? Including like many partners in here. So we also offer what we call a startup program. We call Funders Hub. So Funders Hub, just want to do some promotion here. Anyone here from startup community? So I encourage you to sign up to Funder Hub's program. We actually are, this is not just Hong Kong program, it's a global program. So our partners in startup in China, in Greater Bay Area, are also able to sign up to that. So we offer them like a cloud credit. So just one example is that you can get free OpenAI credits, okay? I talk about it later on, a little bit on that. 2.5K, I think, US dollar, free cloud credit to access OpenAI API. So really attractive, and we help you to go to market, to bring your technology to Greater Bay Area, as well as from Greater Bay Area to Hong Kong as well. So I'll probably talk a bit more than that as well. The third element, I think, third building block, I think is the most important one. So smart city, you really need a large infrastructure, right? You can wait for government to build an AI supercomputer, but before you have that, you might want to rely on technology provider like Microsoft on offer this infrastructure on cloud computing to support any kind of like a smart city solutions. So we have our first data center in Hong Kong since 2011, and now actually 2 years ago we expand to additional data centers and offer more features in our data center, including availability song, this kind of thing. In China, we also have more than Hong Kong. We have 4 like data center regions now, 2 in North, 2 in South, and we actually launched our first one in 2014, and we just have continued to build more data centers to support smart city development. Sustainability is very important, so we actually make a lot of commitment. So data center contribute a lot to energy, right? So we commit to use 100% renewable energy by 2025. Right, to support our operation, including data center, and we also commit to like carbon negative, zero waste, and water positive by 2030. Last pillar is about security. So you offer all this infrastructure, if they're not secure, not protected, not really compliant to any law or privacy requirement, it's useless, right? So we of course we offer technology to protect our infrastructure. We also offer technology to protect smart city development projects. So I stop here. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Then the last guest, that many of you will know that say Alan, Mr. Yeung is a data expert from his prior role with the government as well as the startup that he's now running. That why not we have Mr. Yeung to share about what are the aspects and contribution you made to a smart city construction.
Thank you, Wilson. Maybe I would start by giving a very simple introduction to what I'm doing today. I left the government in 2018 So I started a company called Intelli Global, and the idea is to build a automated, data-driven smart building. So that's the simple mission for the company. So I turned from a policy maker into a practitioner in a way that I would think and work in a very, very different way. As a policymaker, we think about more holistic, more macro perspective. As a practitioner, we have to start small and focus and execute. So coming to the topic of today, we talk about how do we build a smart region. And if we look at 5 years down the road, by integrating the 9+2 greater GBA, we should think about how can we put together a system that can really reduce the friction or the idiosyncrasies among different systems. And also because we are having different government in Hong Kong, in Macau, in Guangdong, and there are also different way of operation. So all this go into complex or complicate the whole situation. And in addition, we also want to make a life cycle of the development very cohesive. And so when we think about, you started from Mr. Ling, he is a planner, start from planning. And then once he planned, then people start to build. And once they build, these people would continue to manage and then service. So all this needs to link up and instead of throw away. So it's particularly important, I would also think about the planning part of it, because you need to simulate how or predict even how the city or the smart region would behave or used several years down the road. And by having an adaptive type of ecosystem that people can continuously leveraging the right infrastructure in place. So this building block put together must have this kind of facilitation to allow the planner, the builder, the manager, and the servicer to continuously work with each other. So in that sense, that we would have to have physical layer that collects all the digital input and then put together into a system that will also link to people who live in the system, and we create a digital twin from the physical world, and that the professor in the very early of the forum talk about. So in a sense that we try to achieve from being very siloed to fragmented to very integrated, being very labor intensive into very automated, being very energy consumed into energy balancing or even efficient. And at the end, we try to also get a very high ecosystem or a clean and living space. It is not possible for one company to achieve all that. So it's very important that we create a standard in different layers, particularly the physical layer, the digital layer, the platform layer, and then the servicing layer. And I think companies can work together to formulate such standard that we do not waste our energy on the exchanges or the frictions. And by having such standard put together, we can then build a smarter region down the road. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Yeung. Yeah. And I think from all our four distinguished guests, then you will know that for the building of a smart region, in fact, we require collaboration and combination of good planning and then good services, technology, and also data. And therefore, I would think that in mind, they usually have a lot of, say, questions to ask our expert. And I have already collected quite a number of interesting questions that I will be going to pose to them. Because the number are quite big, and therefore I wonder whether each of you, I request you to maybe limit your answer to be very punchy, 2 to 3 minutes, and so that we can cover as many questions as possible. Is that okay? Okay, then why don't we go to the first question? I will launch it to Mr. Dohno-san. You have just mentioned in your opening presentation that Panasonic has been very successful in developing, say, Fujisawa as a sustainable, say, smart town in Japan by the extensive use of, say, solar energy and also use of electric vehicle for mobility and also deployment of a wellness health system to take care of the people there. Can you advise us what are the important factors in successfully establishing such a smart city and what are the difficulties that you need to overcome?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think there may be...
Sorry, commercial time and Mr. Dohno-san.
Sorry. Thank you. For my coverage of business area, I think there may be 3 key success factors. Firstly, we should continue to develop new energy-saving products like LED lightings, air conditioners, home appliances, and hydrogen fuel cell and something, which will enable energy consumption better than today's level. That's firstly. And secondly, we also should continue to improve our current energy management systems, which also enable to optimize energy consumption also better than today's level. And thirdly, that's maybe most important. People who is living and working in such a smart city, smart town, should change their mind and attention. That environment protection is #1. On the other hand, I still think there may be a big gap to realize between comfortable lifestyle and environment protection. So we should continue to create quite new circumstances, control systems, which enables to realize not only environmental protection, but also comfortable lifestyle. It may be a difficulty to overcome, but that's our future challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Dohno-san. Then we realize that there are lots of challenges to overcome, and congratulations again to Dohno-san and Panasonic for such success. We really hope that we can replicate those success into the GBA to build similar, successful smart city. Well, as I mentioned by Dohno-san, earlier before, one of the important building blocks for a successful smart region will be the infrastructure and also accessibility. And as I mentioned by Professor Ling earlier before, Hong Kong government having the ambition to turn the Northern metropolis as a smart city. And therefore, maybe my question to Professor Ling again, that say based on your current work with Hong Kong PU for the social innovation, as well as your past role as the planning department of the Hong Kong government, that what is your view as to the governments within the GBA region, that how should they do and collaborate in order to facilitate the development of the Northern metropolis? For example, like people, logistic, money, data flow, and also the policy in this perspective.
I think this is a very complicated question.
I believe so.
And
that's why I posed it to you.
And in my opinion, actually, technology advances much faster, or technological innovation advances much faster than institutional innovation. And if our institution or the governance system cannot be innovated or cannot be reformed at critical time, then that will affect the progress and adaptation of innovative technology. For some, perhaps I may take an example. All right, Hong Kong and Shenzhen still have a border. We would expect that the porosity of this border will increase. It means that we will be more convenient, in crossing this border. When we talk about to develop a innovation and industry technology, ecosystem, Northern metropolis, we believe that there will be a lot of collaboration between business establishments, university, research, laboratories, or they will have a lot of interaction. And why not? All right, can we think about, if there is laboratories in Hong Kong side, and then we'll be manufacturing workshops on Shenzhen side, there will be more convenient, transport of spare parts or goods across the border? Or can't we use drums from point A in Hong Kong to point B and then back? Technology is there. We can log, the route. We can report to the custom through internet, a so-called e-control system. We can do it. Technology is there, but the institutional arrangement has not been worked out. All right, but I believe this should be worked out. Otherwise, that will affect, the adaptation of innovative technology, which is already there. So, in my opinion, institutional innovation is perhaps, the most critical building block we need to really to have breakthrough.
Okay, totally agree. Institutional innovation. Then talking about innovation, then that would inevitably involve data flow. Then probably my follow-up question to Mr. Yeung Alan, then how do you think, maybe in your role as CIO of Hong Kong government before, that as I mentioned by Professor Ling, there will be say logistic of people and also logistic of data too. Then what do you see will be the difficulties for that interchange of data between the border for the Northern metropolis in the future?
Yes, because we have Hong Kong, Macau, and Guangdong as a critical component of the three regions of the Greater GBA. And each of the three has its own unique data residence law. And that's why it's complicating the arrangement of data flow. But without the data flow, then nothing really works very smoothly. We talk about 1 hour living circle, or even half an hour living circle, because of the transportation of high-speed rail, bridges, and whatnot has been put in place, and there are more transportation facilities are adding to facilitate this kind of mobilities. However, the data mobility is now being one of the most difficult obstacles to overcome. The next thing that we would advocate is to allow certain type of data flow standard, that as long as the standard is achieved and certified, by certain appointed authorities. And those certified organizations can flow data among the three. And that can create an opportunity for upholding a high standard of data governance, and B, allow the flow of data among the three specific regions that we talk about.
Thank you, Alan. Well, say the speakers have talked about, say, all around, say, technology, and therefore, probably naturally, I go to the next question to Fred, as a, say, technology giant, Microsoft. We understand that Microsoft is indeed deploying technology in many of the, say, smart city initiatives. And then we are talking about, say, how to build, for example, Lofton Metropolis, the whole GBA as a smart region. Then how do you see technology company like Microsoft or the startup that you just mentioned, you have a program that you are grooming, where can contribute to the establishment of that smart region?
Yeah, I think our role is really bring the latest, greatest technology to the market that we serve, right? So you'll be seeing, I'm not going to mention OpenAI when on this stage as representing Microsoft. So for example, OpenAI, we just launched a service in January 16, and we make it available to every consumer worldwide, including Hong Kong. So anybody can leverage that technology. I think in a nutshell, the technology really can, for example, apply to smart people, for instance. Probably the technology can help people become more smarter. May not be very smarter, but at least it's more efficient, right? So when I get an email invitation from SEC and PwC on this panel, I normally spend about 5 minutes to reply email. Now I only spend like 5 seconds to generate email. So I think the productivity gain that released from this generative AI technology is tremendous, right? If you actually use this productivity gain, apply into the economic, I would say a gain. I'm not an economist, right? If you calculate in terms of trillions of benefit, contribute back to our economy, it's going to be a big thing. To make Hong Kong much smarter, or the world even smarter.
Thank you, Fred. That really we need to hinge on, say, technology to really accelerate the path to say establishing this smart region. Okay, then talking about say technology, then we won't forget, say, Panasonic too, because they have been, say, embracing technology in their product and also in their services. Maybe my second question to Dohno again. Panasonic has recently demonstrated that 100% of the electricity consumed by a factory can be provided by hydrogen as a renewable resource. And then, Dohno, will you be able to tell us more about the aspiration of Panasonic in further introducing hydrogen as a renewable energy in the smart city and smart city establishment, and also any particular area you think we should take note when hydrogen is being taken as an alternative energy source in the region? Thank you, Dohno.
Thank you. I will touch upon one example. Panasonic combines a pure hydrogen fuel cell and solar cell for in-house power generation. Electricity consumed by business activities can be supplemented 100% by renewable energy. We call this renewable energy 100%, RE100 solution. And it is demonstrated in our own factory in Shiga Prefecture, Japan, since last fiscal year. And I think this is the first attempt in the world for 100% renewable energy utilizing hydrogen. And this experimental usage, utilizes a pure hydrogen fuel cell and a solar cell for in-house power generation. Also, lithium-ion storage battery is used to store excess electricity. The electricity generated here completely covers the production of our fuel cell factory. Similar type of experiment is also taking place in our factory in Wuxi, China. Anyways, through the experiment, we will collect knowledge and data on energy management, including pure hydrogen fuel cell, and realize 100% in-house power generation for creating RE100 solution business. Thank you.
Thank you, Dohno-san. Then we are so excited to learn about the evolution of, say, applying hydrogen as a renewable source of energy. Then, so that in the future, that say we may really say use it to replace the other say fuel energy that we are using. Okay, then talking about, say, technology, then we will switch to another topic. In the previous session, we all talked about a smart region or smart city. A very critical element is sustainability. And my question will be to, say, Fred, Microsoft, because as you just mentioned, say, Microsoft has been embracing the generative AI through the OpenAI, but I understand that sustainability is also a focus of Microsoft. For example, Microsoft has been heavily promoting sustainability cloud, and therefore, how, Fred, that you will see that for this cloud operation will facilitate the ongoing development of a smart region?
Yeah, of course. I mean, on any smart city development, you need a lot of computer infrastructure, right? And if you talk about data center, it probably contribute 1% of the global carbon emission. So, and our commitment to use 100% renewable energy will solve some of the problem, right? And we also commit to all the new data center. We're going to implement what we call circular center, so we can reuse or recycle the stuff in the data center, so we will not go to the wasteland. And that's one way we practice us out, and we also share our experience. Although our operation entire Microsoft, even we don't emit any carbon emission, you only talk about 0.03% of the global emission. But how are we going to address the 99.97%? We offer a solution called Accessibility Cloud, and how our customer to manage the carbon footprint and make more, I would say, efficient use of energy. Probably we work together with partner solution like Alan and other startup to effectively or efficiently manage the carbon, I would say, use or generate from this building in an effective manner.
Thank you, Fred. Then, say by combining, say, the OpenAI and also, for example, like your cloud, then in fact there will be a tremendous volume of, say, data being traveled. And then we all talk about, say, generative AI, then how to make best use of the data in order to make work more efficient, make life easier. Then maybe my follow-up question to Alan, from what, say, Fred has just mentioned, that how you see that federated learning or machine learning, that the data can talk about themselves and they can interpret themselves in order to say to do greater work, then how you see the difficulty or challenges or opportunity for the cross-border transfer?
Yes, cross-border data has a lot of different scenarios. We should not think of just one solution can fit all. And I think federated learning can offer one particular use scenario that allow data not really transfer, but to get certain aspects of the data and to build models and get results. That can serve a certain purpose, but may not be applicable to others. So I think that in the nutshell, that we should allow different scenarios and different data sharing models to flow in order to meet the objective of, at the end of the data economy or data development. At the foundation of everything, that we have to build a very good data governance structure. And if everyone can live up to that kind of data governance standard, and I think it can really resolve a lot of the concerns and issues.
Okay, thank you. As say, we have a lot of questions, but I still want to say borrow the time for my last question to Professor Ling. First, Professor Ling, from your previous say government role and also from your current role, then how do you see, say, government and corporation, the public and private collaboration in this say smart region development? What will be the low-hanging fruit that you see that we can achieve?
I don't know whether there's no hanging fruit, but I would like, the audience here fully understand that Hong Kong has triggered a new wave of large-scale urbanization and development of high-capacity infrastructure. And that will be the scenario where the smart city technologies can be applied. And I think we need to change our mindset. It means that business cannot, as usual, we need new mindset to grasp every opportunity in this new wave of urbanization and infrastructure development.
Okay, absolutely, I agree. Well, thank you so much for all the distinguished guests. That I would think that we need a second round of our panel because we have so much, ideas that we need to tap on. But once again, thank you so much for all the wonderful sharing. And I believe so with, technology, with good planning, with government collaboration, and also the talent that we will be able to establish GBA as a smart region. Okay, then thank you once again that we give a round of applause to our 4 distinguished guests for all the great sharing, and I also learned a lot from them. Thank you. Thank you for the audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wilson. Please stay on stage and we can take a group photo, gentlemen.